roughly how long ago were you actually diagnosed?
Okay, right. This is a good one. I was officially diagnosed 4 years ago, but I was diagnosed by my parents when I was 15 years old. I self-diagnosed myself at 18. I didn't actually get properly diagnosed until 20, because that's when I actually sought help for it.
Did you remember what was initially recommended for you to do?
They initially recommended that I see how I go, thinking it was just a phase, or thinking that I was like having a time in school or something. The reality was, of course, like myself and my parents knew that I'd been on and off like manic depressive kind of swings for like quite a few years. Then they put it down to puberty, that it was like an imbalance in my hormones. I think I went twice before the third time they gave me some sort of antidepressant. At this like period in time, I was completely out of it. I really struggled to actually have a mind that worked, so I felt kind of like just out of everything all the time. So a lot of periods in that time I don't remember. It's about a year and a half leading up to university that I'm still really sketchy on everything. So they gave me this pill, and I had to take it for a month and then come back and see what the effects were, which I think is kind of like absolutely, because it takes about a month for anything to kind of really kick in. So I'd only felt the experiences of it for a week. Previous to that I'd felt a bit sick. I felt like a spaceman, where you feel like you're just floating constantly. But I did see a difference in the last like week and a half. I started to feel a bit more coherent. I wouldn't say anything dramatic at this point, but I felt a bit more coherent.
A lot of people, you find, have to go through so many different medications to find what works for them.
I've been through like 4 different changes on my antidepressants.
Yeah.
And a good few on my anti-anxiety medication. It's really hard because you do have to find what works for you, and I think a lot of people first go onto antidepressants and try the first thing, don't agree with it, and then just don't go back. The reality is every person's different, so they have to try and kind of prescribe what they think is relevant for you or what they think will benefit you. And for me that took a few times to kind of find something that worked, because I could be quite all over the place and it wouldn't stabilise me. I mean, there are many times I thought about weaning myself off when I thought, oh yeah, I'm better.
Yeah.
Like even at the start of this year, I was going for a really, really good patch. And I tried to wean myself off, but then I had a massive reality shock of life isn't going to be always great. And my brain's not always going to be great. And I had about a week of just, I'm so glad I didn't. I mean, like, I would always wait until the doctor told me that it was time to start weaning. Like, I would never go against their orders now. I don't trust many doctors, but the guys that have dealt with me so far have been on the mark. But I've been on sertraline for 8 months now, and it's been the one that's finally actually done something, and that's after 4 previous tries.
Yeah.
It's been the one that's like not made me gain weight, not made me have like fits of anger, or not made me feel like I'm just floating. I feel like my brain is ordered, so that's important, and it takes time to get to that point. And counselling.
Universities, especially here at Bangor, they have services available. If they want to go for help, they can go there and talk. How have you used it, and has it actually helped you?
Oh, right. I do have quite a bit to say about this, but I'm going to try to limit it. The staff here can be very helpful and friendly about it once they fully understand what's going on. They were more understanding at uni when I handed in my special circumstances forms. I mean, thankfully I have personally been lucky with most of my tutors that they will actually meet up with me outside of classes, give me extra help on that. But as for the services the uni runs, I speak very highly of them. It does frustrate me that it takes a while to get an appointment sometimes, and it does frustrate me that when you are given an appointment, sometimes it can be, I think it's only an hour, sometimes it's half an hour. So you get in, get out. And for someone with like a mental health issue, it kind of makes you feel a little bit ignored. But they are good. I mean, I've been using the uni counselling services since I was in first year, and they have worked a real wonder with me, because they started from myself. They started from myself with a point of, this is just you and medication. We're going to talk through the medication. We're going to talk through you on the medication, but we're actually going to look at who you are as a person and not see that as a kind of stigma, which I needed, because a lot of where I've come from in mental health started from feelings of massive inadequacy and having to grow up far too quickly without understanding myself. They're very helpful people. I think we get a lot of slack on them. They do a lot of good work. But I think there is a stigma of mental health. Even now when we're talking about it a lot more freely, there is a stigma there. And the stigma does lie with mental health falling as well into an older generation.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It affects kids from silly early ages, and it shouldn't have to if we can just like have the help there available.
Yeah.
And we've got child psychologists, we've got teen psychologists, we've got adult psychologists, we've got all around.
Psychologists galore.
Exactly, we have the ability to be able to help.
So how has your depression and anxiety actually affected how you study at university?
A lot. that's my answer. A lot. Oh my goodness. There are days where I physically can't get myself out of bed. Some of those days are because I have no energy, no motivation, and I would rather just lie in bed and actually just curl up and die, honestly. And then other days it's because my anxiety plays up so much that I believe if I go out of the house, I will die or something bad will happen.
Yeah.
Especially when I was doing my dissertation, I kind of fell into bordering agoraphobic. Like, I had borderline agoraphobia of stepping outside. I tried to go for a walk, I had a panic attack, and had to run home crying. And it does affect it. It means I can't get to uni all the time. It means that my mind is elsewhere. So when I do sit down and try to catch up and study, I find it really difficult to just concentrate because my brain is in 100 places at once. And there is that voice at the back of my head that just is screaming, give up, and just lie down and stop. It also makes relationship with teachers and lecturers pretty hard. Once they do fully understand a place when you're in, I feel like they do lighten up towards you. But there is a lot of judgment that comes there. And it does make you just, again, want to give up. It doesn't make me want to study, it doesn't make me want to try hard. As for just retention, I think that's a big one. It's okay if you can't concentrate all the time, and it's okay if your mind doesn't focus in the same way other people's do. We're all unique like that, but mental health is going to make that a lot worse. So personally, I really struggle with kind of getting on with things and staying focused and just doing. I have to take frequent breaks, I have to try to get out of my own head for 5 minutes, but more often than not, it just doesn't do too well. I mean, the antidepressants I'm on do help a lot.
Yeah.
And trying to keep me focused and ordered. But there are always moments and always weeks that I just can't function like a human.
Yeah.
And that it's affected my degree a lot. I mean, in first year I was en route for first. I worked very hard and my grade has slowly gripped as I've gotten worse and worse. And I've managed to bring it back up in the last year or so, but it has meant a lot of scary times for me because I'm terrified of failure. And so my mental health makes that worse, and it also makes getting to a point of not feeling harder. So it's not good.
Definitely. So obviously mental health, a very important subject. We need to get it out there more.
Mm-hmm.
And students need to be more aware of themselves, but not only themselves. Do you agree with me if I was to say you don't even need to be aware of your own mental health, but you need to be able to pick up on the subtle cues from your closest friends?
I mean, people need to understand what the signs are, and I mean, it's not like a disease. You can't just diagnose it like that.
Yeah.
The signs are really subtle, and you can confuse it with just general hormone depression, and it can be confused with having a bad time. But there are real distinct signs. No motivation, inability to wake up in the morning, wanting to sleep all the time. I don't know, for me, I got so stressed out my hair started falling out, and that caused me to get very angry, and that was kind of symptom of both of them were symptoms of depression. I think we need to be way more aware. The worst thing about it is there are no strict guidelines for what happens and what doesn't, because everybody's different. But if we kind of just understood a small amount of what was going on, or kind of had a basis line for things for people to be aware of and to start questioning, I think that would help so much more. Just so many factors. We have still got such a stigma around it that people don't want to admit. The gradual thing of it comes on, and it's like a dark cloud that just takes over everything little thing. But it's not something as well that I think we need to be more open with it, but it's not something that I'm proud of to talk about. I'm proud of being a survivor of mental illness and someone who's still going despite the fact that I've had opportunity to give up. It's something I want to publicise as being something that people need to watch out for and like seek help for, because you don't have to live like that. And it's not something I would wish on my worst enemies. Really isn't. No. Like, going through this is hell most days. And then you get days like today where it's a little bit better. Yeah. And then the bad thoughts are kind of all the way up at the back of my brain. And I can laugh, but 80% of my days I find it very difficult to find pleasure in most things. So
do you find on your good days actually getting out and being with friends, being with people, do you find that actually helps keep the bad and worst days at bay a little bit longer?
Yeah, I find that it does help. I mean, I'm not the most sociable person, but I'm an introverted extrovert, I guess you would say. I prefer my own company above anyone's because it makes it a lot easier to deal with good and bad days. But being around people does help. I mean, I'm one of those people, if I'm having a good day, I try to get out as much as possible and try to see people because it's going to help. But also, I do love my friends a lot and I miss seeing them. And there are days where I physically just can't because I know that. I do everything with my friends. I mean, I'm vice president of the drama society here at Bangor Uni, and that's really important for me, and that has helped me a lot with depression because a lot of people that I know in that society have mental health issues as well, and we kind of use it as a creative outlet. So with those people I feel a lot more comfortable being around them. New situations, and even if I'm having a good day around new people and stuff, I still get really panicky and nervous. I think it affects a lot if you're with people. It does make you happier, especially the right people.
Yeah.
They bring up your mood. They're supportive people, and that's what you need to help you. I think it's really imperative that you have a really good people around you. This is something that people need to realise is not something we can do alone. I love being by myself, but I can't do this alone. I always have people there messaging me, or I'm always talking to people. Even if it's not face to face, it helps. And when I am having a bad day and I just need to spew because I can't cope with the emotions I'm feeling by myself, having friends like that helps because I do. I know there are times where I feel like I'm going to do something really stupid.
Yeah.
And I've got a history of idiotic things that I've done to myself or done to things around me. So if I can feel myself getting to that point, I will deliberately get up out of the house.
Yeah.
That has come from 4 years of counselling and 4 years of getting my head in a better place. Still not quite there yet, but I'm in a good enough place that I can automatically think, right, out of the house, go do something before I do something to myself or do something to someone else. Or it makes the good days much sweeter as well when you're with other people, like so much nicer.